All right. Well, I saw this article come out from President J.D. Greer, president of the Southern Baptist Seminary. You know, one time I got in trouble. I was preaching at a church, not the church that I pastor. I was actually hired to preach at a church before that. Anyway, I was preaching at this church, and I mentioned Barack Obama, but I didn't call him President Barack Obama. And somebody came to me afterwards and was highly offended that I didn't do that. I didn't do it intentionally. I just that's his name. His name was Barack. Someone got really mad at me. So they told me, they informed me that the president is always the president, and you have to refer to him as President so-and-so. Oh, okay, fine, I'll do it. President J.D. Greer, president of the Southern Baptist Seminary, came out with a hot take on homosexuality. 3 ways we go wrong when discussing homosexuality. Now, I called my brother after reading this article, and I told him the title of the article, and he said, well, I can guarantee you there's at least 3 ways that J.D. goes wrong in this article, just as a joke. But he was definitely correct. This is a weird article. This is a weird article. It starts out, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just going to mention 2 things that I find annoying. You can give a little window into how my mind works. So it starts off, it says, historically, we in the church haven't done a great job in conversations about homosexuality, and we've done an even worse job caring for those experiencing this. And I was reading, I read that to my brother earlier, and he had the same exact thought that I have. We were not that surprising. We think very similarly about a lot of things. He said, prove it. And people love saying this. I find this to be one of the most annoying things. People will always say stuff like this, and they just expect you to believe it. They don't ever have to prove it. It's like, well, the church is horrible at talking about race. And it's like, well, okay, compared to what? That's an old trick from Thomas Sowell. You know, when somebody tells you something about, society, and you always, compared to what? That's the first question you should ask. So the church hasn't done a great job talking about homosexuality. Okay, compared to what? The culture? According to who? You know what I mean? Like prove it. I don't believe this for a second. The church has done a terrible job treating or caring for people that experience homosexuality. I don't believe it. And actually, his article itself proves that this is just not the case. He talks about Rosaria Butterfield and how an RPCNA minister led her to Christ. Obviously, this guy knew how to do it, and he obviously learned it from somewhere. So people have been talking about the right way to talk about homosexuality for a very long time. The RPs have put out a great statement on sexuality a long time ago. They've been doing this for a long time. So this whole idea, people love doing this, is ripping the church. They're terrible at this. They're terrible at that. They're on the wrong side of history here. It's like, okay, compared to what? I find that so annoying. Anyway, this is the one that I thought was the stupidest. Now, all of these things are kind of interesting. There's things I could talk about with all of his statements, but this is the one that I found the most interesting. This is the 3rd way we go wrong in talking about homosexuality. We're wrong if we assume it's hard for LGBT people to get to heaven. Okay, here's what he says. He says, oh man. Okay, let me say something very clearly. Homosexuality does not send you to hell. I know that because being heterosexual doesn't send you to heaven. Homosexuality doesn't send you to hell because heterosexuality doesn't send you to heaven. I'm at a loss for words. How do you even respond to this? Like, this is sophistry of the highest magnitude. Like, it's just sophistry. What kind of logic is that? I know that homosexuality doesn't send you to hell because heterosexuality doesn't send you to heaven. Let's have a little fun with this one. All right. I know that lying doesn't send you to hell because telling the truth doesn't get you to heaven. I know that swearing doesn't send you to hell because saying kind words doesn't get you to heaven. I know that killing people doesn't send you to hell because not killing people doesn't send you to heaven. What? Look, I know pedophilia doesn't send you to hell because not having sex with children doesn't send you to heaven. I know that kidnapping doesn't send you to hell because not kidnapping doesn't send you to heaven. I know that being a rampant racist white supremacist doesn't send you to hell because loving your other people of other races doesn't send you to heaven. I know that eating Popeyes doesn't send you to hell because eating Chick-fil-A doesn't send you to heaven. What kind of logic is this? Does this work in any other circumstance? I know that cheating on your wife doesn't send you to hell because being faithful to your wife doesn't send you to heaven. Why does he do this? I mean, he's got to be smarter than this, right? There's a reason he's saying this about this particular sin because you wouldn't do it for other sins, right? Like you wouldn't say this kind of thing for almost any other sin. I know that gluttony doesn't send you to hell because eating right doesn't send you to heaven. Like, oh man. I know that gossip doesn't send you to hell because not gossiping doesn't send you to heaven. Like, would any of the apostles have said anything like this? Would Jesus have said something like this? I just don't understand. Like, what is the purpose of this? Why? Guys, if you have I don't have any more words to this. If you have words to this, like, I don't know. Send me a comment. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know what to say. I just... man. I know that breaking the Sabbath doesn't send you to hell because keeping the Sabbath doesn't send you to heaven. Like, does it work with any other sin? I don't know. This is like the special sin. This is like the very special sin that gets all these articles written about it. And look, the article's not 100% terrible, but what's the purpose of writing it? What's the purpose? And stop putting this on me. Look, this is what the thing that bothers me. Like, the church has done a horrible job, a terrible job talking about this and treating people poorly. Like, look, you don't know that. You don't have any evidence of that. Maybe you've done a terrible job, but don't put that on me. You don't know what I've done, what I've said. You don't know how I've treated homosexuals. You don't know anything about that. And yet you're trying to put this guilt trip on me. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? I don't know. I hope this is helpful.